Okay, this is sat for about 18 hours or so, so I reckon that should be pretty much dry by now. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to release it and then leave it to sit somewhere in the sun so it can just finish off. Okay. So it's not stuck on there. That still looks tacky. It's still slightly damp. And it stuck itself. So, is that long enough blade? Right. Still slightly damp in the centre here, but it does look to be quite well bonded. So I'm going to leave it like this. I'll just raise it up. I'll stick it on top of this so that it's just some air. Actually, I might stand it up somewhere if I can. So I've got some air circulating all the way around. So I'm going to leave that another 12 hours or so just to finish drying off. I might put a couple of clamps on just to make sure it stays. Okay, I've put you on that side of me, so I think you're going to get a better angle of what I'm doing here. So this is my my block, and unfortunately it's got a bit of a bow to it. I think I took it out of the press too soon. Hopefully that's not going to cause too many problems, but we shall see. So I've got my bits of wood here that I've been playing with on the angle, and I don't have a table saw, so I can't get to a really sharp angle. So I've got kind of the options going up to 45 degrees. So I've tried 15, 30 and then 45, and 15 it's barely even an angle here. 30 is not much better, and 45 has got a decent amount of bevel, but I think I might have to sand a bit more so I can get more of the layers showing. So what I'm going to do here, first thing I'm going to do is make a straight edge, because this is in no way straight in any way. So I've just drawn a pencil line along the edge that looks the most together and compact, and I've put some packing tape over just to hold things in and help it move, because I suspect it is still going to be unstable. For future reference, I'm going to need to use some real kind of wood glue or Gorilla Glue or something with a bit of oomph, and leave it in the press for more than one day. I think I'll leave it until it's completely dry. So, cutting a straightish line. I've got my there's a 6 blade in there, which is a straight one, not a spiral. This is all straight cut, so I don't think a spiral is going to help very much. So here we go. Well, that was more difficult than it should have been. Not very straight, but straighter. And you can see the layers of wood I've got here, which look to be quite well stuck. A little void on that side, and I'm sure about that side. Okay. It's caught somewhere, I don't quite know why. Anyway, so from that piece I'm going to try and do a pendant. I want my pendants to have 2 straight edges and 2 slanted. I think it's going to need more kind of help going through, so tape will act as a lubricant. At least that's what the books say. So I'm going to put a tilt on this, and I'm going to go to 45. Pretty much the limit of this table. Rearrange all of this garbage. Can't really get the vent in there anymore. So that can fit under here. So I'm going to aim to hit just above. You can see that. It's pretty much where the tape line is. That's what I'm going to aim for. That should get the bottom on that level. So here we go. Completely off my line, but Kelsobrie's. That's a better line. It's showing more of the layers there. Okay, so that was somewhat a fail. Actually, quite a big fail. Out of 11 pieces I cut, 8 of them have split, but it seems they've all split on this same layer here with the green colour, or most of them have anyway. Some at kind of the very top and bottom. So not as bad as it could have been. It's still not fabulous. So I've got to sort these out before I can really do any more with them. So I'm going to use some Gorilla Glue on these and just reset them, and then just clamp them together for a couple of hours so they're set. And then what I can do with the pendant and these two bits that have finished or have stayed together, they look quite nice with the layers in, but I'm going to sand them so that the layers show more. So I've got one of my offcuts and a piece of sandpaper, and some double-sided, which may not be strong enough for a very long use, but for now probably should be enough to get me started. I think at a later point I'll actually make a board with some sandpaper stuck to it, but this will do just for the minute. So pretty much does fit. It's just slightly bigger than the board, but it's not an issue, but it does give me a flat surface to work against. So first I'm going to go onto the flat edges of the pendant and make sure they stay flat. So just give them a, this is 60 grit I believe, so it's the roughest one I've got in my collection. So I'm just going over the straight edges first. So I'm not doing anything with the faces yet, not with this level of sandpaper anyway. So now I'm going to take my 45-degree angle and I'm going to come down onto this edge and just going with the grain of the veneer on the top at least. Just going to kind of work it over. So can you make out the difference? It's slightly widening these strips, so I'm just going to carry on. I'm probably taking up to maybe a 50 degree, I think. I'll measure it later. Okay, so I've had the most aggravating couple of hours. I've got my pendant sanded up to where I wanted it. It's down to 180, it's nice and smooth and done, and then it split in that same space where everything else was split. And then when I started sanding my individual beads, they split into 3 or 4 pieces each. So I'm calling that lamination bit at the beginning a fail, I think. Whether I should have used all plain sheets and not bits and pieces, or definitely better glue, and definitely should have left it in the press for longer. But I've decided to stick these beads back to back, and once these have had at least 12 hours to dry, I'm going to smooth them all round and make them into earrings, which are going to be huge earrings, but they'll match the set. Whether or not they'll sell, I don't know, but the pendant should. Once that's finished, it'll look quite nice. So yeah, it's a learning experience, as Dad says, and I'm learning that I don't have the patience, and that I really shouldn't run the video when I'm gluing stuff, when I'm sanding, because there is a lot of swearing, which I will delete, I think. I'm not going to put that online. So in 12 hours time I'll come back and finish those off. Okay, so these have sat pretty much overnight, so I expect they're going to be nicely set. I'm just going to give them a quick whiz over on this one, which is 40, not 60. Make sure there's no glue screwed anyway. Yeah, looking good and solid. I'm going to move over to my slightly less abrasive sanding. Right, so these, I'm not entirely sure if this is going to work, but we shall see. Okay, so I've given these a good sand. I've got them down to 180, and I've kind of picked out two of a similar sort of size to the earrings. I think that should be fine. I don't want to really sand these too much more, because there's a risk of them falling apart some more. So I had to re-glue these twice already. So I'm just going to raise the grain on these with a little bit of water before I very gently do them at sand them again at 120. I think that should be enough before I put some spray varnish on. So I'm just, ooh, wow. It also helps to see how they will look once they're varnished. So here you can see all the colours popping out. So I'm just raising the grain, so I'm just damping it down, and then I'll just let that dry, and then I can sand again, and that'll give a much better finish. So that means I only really have to sand once in between coats of varnish. Continue. Okay, so I'm in the process of finishing these jewellery pieces. So I've made myself a little hanging tree. So it's just a metal skewer in a tub, clipped on top with a bit of copper wire. So that should be fine for now. If I decide to start making lots of these, obviously I'm going to have to build something a bit more permanent. This will do for the moment. So this is going to have one coat of varnish, and then a good sanding, and then probably another 3 or 4 coats, just so I get a decent amount of shine on them. So okay, so these have had 4 coats of varnish now, and it just seems that the very bottoms of these beads haven't kind of caught it as well as they should have done. So I'm probably going to have to go over them again later on, but I think now's the time to put some findings on. I used to make a lot of jewellery, so I've got a fair stash of jump rings and things. So one of those, 2 of those. And I've got a nice kind of leather cord for a necklace. So I'm going to keep with some standard gold coloured hooks. They look better against this wood. Okay, and so I'm using what they call a jump ring, which is essentially a ring with a slot cut in it. So the way you're supposed to use them is to hold on to the ring either side of the gap of the space, the cut, and just twist it open. If you try and unroll it, you'll never get it back into the right shape. So I'm just going to guide that onto here.